Welcome to the Savvy Sauce, where we have practical chats for intentional living. I'm your host, Laura Duggar, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm so excited to introduce you to a sponsor who we've personally enjoyed this past year. It's called Inquisicook. Check out inquisicook.com for more information. Thank you for tuning in to our Top 10 series today. This conversation was originally aired in 2025 and became our number 6 most downloaded episode of the year. My guests are Dan and Sam Mathews, who you may know from all the social platforms as We Are Dan and Sam. They live a life of faith and delightful adventure, and their book released in 2025, and I highly recommend it. I read through it so fast, and it was a great combination of enjoying their stories while also learning along the way. During our chat today, Dan and Sam are going to share stories and give us simple, practical ideas and tips for adding a sense of fun to your family's everyday life. Here's our chat. Welcome to the Savvy Sauce, Dan and Sam.
Thank you for having us. We're excited.
We are really excited.
Well, I'm so excited to journey back and get to hear more of your story. But will you first just give us an overview of what current life looks like right now?
Yes. So currently I'm 22 weeks pregnant with our third baby. We have 2 kiddos. Canyon is almost 9. Ember is 7. We live in southern Missouri. We love adventuring and traveling, and Dan hunts. We share life on every platform. So just lifestyle, vlogging and sharing our adventures. We recently settled down in a home. And so this is our first time doing DIYs for ourselves. And it's a fun season right now.
And Sam loves to host, so I think we have 48 parties scheduled this summer and knocked out a couple already. But we're excited about life, excited about adventure, and sharing that with people and how they can actually get out and adventure more.
Yeah.
And you do that so well. But if we're going back then to more of the origin stories, will you both share your journey of growing up and your stories that eventually led for the two of you to overlap with one another?
Yeah, definitely. So it's always been me, my mom, my sister. My mom was a single mom raising us, born in California, but then she moved us to southern Missouri when I was young. And this was a great place to raise us, in the Bible Belt. We were raised pretty much in church. She did an amazing job as a single mom, just caring for us and pointing us to Christ. We got plugged into a church very early on. We volunteered there. My sister and I worked there. We, attended there. And so we're really involved. And that's how I met Dan when he came to Bible college.
Yeah, I grew up in central Wisconsin. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. Was very, very involved with the kids ministry and youth group, and just any opportunity I could be around that church community, I was. And we had a group called Master's Commission that would come up and do outreach at our church. They were from Florida. And I was like, man, I want to do that one day. These guys are awesome. They're doing human videos and they're all musical. And my dad's brother and his family, they moved down to southern Missouri, and I get a call one day right after high school, and they were like, hey, there's a master's commission program down here. If you want to do it, we'll pay for it. And I was like,
yes,
sure, let's do it. Almost no questions asked, just kind of all right, tell me a date I have to be there. And then I started packing stuff up and quit my job and moved down knowing absolutely nobody. And I got plugged into the church, became very, very involved, and then just built a community. And through that, I went there with Sam's sister, her older sister, and got to know Sam. And then I ended up working out at the gym that she worked at.
Which was at our church.
Which was at the church. And so we were just around each other all the time, and that kind of developed over years and years and years. Yeah. And then, one day I was like, wow, this chick is awesome. And
here we are today.
Now we're here doing podcasting.
which is incredible. Okay, so just to pause, and you go into more of these stories. Loved your book,
Yes.
so easy to read. But
Thank
can you
you.
take us back to what you both first thought of one another when you were meeting
Yeah.
those days at the gym?
Oh, geez. For sure, Dan is the life of the party. Like he is comedy and just he has all the jokes and definitely a charmer with all the ladies. But so fun to be around and not only like his humor draws you in, but I didn't grow up with a father, and so I liked the, I don't know, like strong aspect that he like had, just like the confidence. And then his relationship with the Lord was something that I desired to have for myself, a leader in a couple like together would to point someone to point me towards Christ. But the lightheartedness and jokes and humor keep the keep the hard days fun. But that for me was, I always can count on you for a good joke.
Yeah, I when I first met Sam, it was kind of in a group setting and it was with her older sister, with my younger brother, and it was like, oh, this is, Justine's sister.
Little sister.
Didn't
Yeah.
really think a whole lot of it. But after a couple of years, I think you were probably a sophomore at that time when I first met you.
Yeah.
And and then after a couple of years, it was like she was
In college.
volunteering in the youth group and
Mhm.
she was on the recreation staff at our camps. And so it's like we were spending more time together. And I'm like, whoa, Justine's Justine's sister is kind of cute. And yeah, we started just kind of a friendship. We were just around each other all the
Mhm.
time. I mean, like before we were dating or really interested in each other, it's like I was walking back from the lake and she'd hop on my back and I just give her a piggyback ride up to
Mhm.
the cabins. And then looking back, I'm like, wow, our lives just were really intermingled and overlapped for years and years. But
Yeah.
early on, she was younger. She had braces. She was a hip hop dance instructor. So, I mean, she would have like one sweatpant, leg rolled up, high top Nikes on all the
Mhm.
time. Like, thought she was the coolest thing ever.
Hey, I was. I didn't think.
Oh, that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. And my husband and I were also friends first, and I feel like that
Yeah.
that does set you up well in marriage. Like you've got
Yeah.
your built-in buddy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going through pictures yesterday because I was going to post a trend online and it was like, oh, how cute. How many months have you been married? And it's like months, question mark. And you put a picture for every year. And it's like we've known each other since like 2008, maybe
Yeah.
2009, but then like started our like dating in 2010. And I look at pictures of us from 2010 as a couple and I'm like, oh my gosh, we've grown so much, just like, like physically, but even just relationally and spiritually. And like, it's crazy looking back and so thankful for so many years of friendship with him, but relationship wise, it's been great.
Well, and I feel like doing life together is a great model before ever like the romantic side comes in. You get to
Yeah.
know the person in group settings. You get to know who they are without the interest because people can put on a different
Yeah.
face once you're trying to impress somebody,
Yeah.
but we were just being our genuine selves around each other for a long
You
time.
probably saw some stupid moments, some hard moments, but yeah, that's what you want to see before you get into a relationship with someone.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
as we're starting back that far, then when you reflect back, what are some of the adventures that you're most grateful you've said yes to in life?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like we weren't even dating at this point. The canoe trip when you did with
Yeah.
Master's Commission, that was so fun. It was like all of his friends, my sister, all the Master's Commission group went kayaking and I decided to tag along as a sibling and his brother did and maybe a couple others. And that was fun, but it also gave me an opening into like how Dan adventures because his way of adventuring is way different than mine. I grew up, like I said, with a mom. We like would camp at a cabin and you pack the car full of everything you need. Dan would literally just put everything in a backpack and like hike in 2 miles to go camping. And so being in that group, going kayaking, it was so fun and it sparked this like new love for adventure and new desire to learn a new way of adventure in me that was so fun. I mean, that was before we were married, but that this is kind of jumping far ahead, but when we were married, we moved to Colorado for a couple years, and although it was a hard season for us, we learned so much, we gained so much from it. We a lot was birthed in us in that season. I mean, physically, I welcomed my daughter. We welcomed our second child in Colorado, but spiritually, I think God planted a lot of seeds that it may not have been like a tangible adventure of being out in the woods, but spiritually, we were in the woods and we grew so much. And I'm glad we said yes to it because it opened the door and led to so many other things.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of our adventures, some are traditional. I mean,
Hmm.
like a big adventure for me was leaving home. I mean, I moved straight out of my parents' house to a different state, and
Yeah.
that was totally crazy for me. But then watching Sam, I mean, she moved out to California for a summer,
Hmm.
went to a ministry out there. Then I saw her go to Colorado and nanny for a couple all summer long. And so I was like watching this and we were talking, and I realized like we're both all in on an adventurous life.
No matter what it
And
looks like.
even when we don't have the answers, it's like, is the Lord telling you not to do it? No? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
then we'll see what happens. And I thought that was really cool to watch her just like, oh, I'm going to California for summer. And at first I was like, please don't. I don't want
Please
you
come back.
all the way to California. But then I was like, that's going to be so incredible. Like, you're just leaving everything behind and starting over for a whole summer in a
Mm.
different state. And so that was like the early dating years where we were kind of doing our own adventures, but we were watching and encouraging each other in doing them. And then we started actually going out and camping and floating rivers and hiking up waterfalls. And
Yeah.
if you've never camped in the backcountry with someone, I suggest doing it. It's a great metric for if there's someone you want to marry. Like if you can figure out canoeing and camping, you're probably going to be okay in marriage.
That's good.
And so, yeah, we started doing that stuff. And then from there, it was just like one after the next, going to Alaska,
Mm.
camping in grizzly country by ourselves. And it's our first time there. Like we've done some pretty wild things, some pretty traditional things, but at the end of the day, all of the adventures are what brought us together.
Yeah.
Well, and just thinking of the adventure that drew you together, and then also your current platforms on socials and vlogging
Yeah.
and preserving all of these pictures. Like you said, you've captured all the pictures throughout the
Oh,
time.
yes.
When when you look back, do you feel like God had given you little seeds of what was yet to come or what kind of career you would be in someday? Or was this totally a shock to both of you?
Yeah. You know what, looking back at pictures or even videos that I took, I could see how it was something that the Lord was birthing in us. And I would say probably me so more than Dan. I think Dan's like, whatever you want to do, I'm along for the ride type of thing. It's probably wasn't his first choice as a career, but now that we're in it, we love it and we're thankful for the blessing it is to our family and the time that we get to spend with the kiddos. But I look back and I started videoing and taking pictures like years before even starting on social media. And then even the first few months in the year of sharing, it was like I didn't know what I was doing, but I still wanted to just share life and encourage people and love on people and inspire people. And um, yeah, it's crazy to look back on, but I also see like the work the Lord was doing to get it all started before we even thought about it and knew that it would be something that we'd be doing.
Yeah, and I feel like with Sam, she gets promptings from the Lord that she doesn't know what it is, she doesn't know what it means. And early on, I think the very first one, she's like, "Babe, I just have this feeling like a big change is
Mhm.
coming." And I'm like, "Any more? Like, you have any more information for me?
Literally it.
Because that's not a whole lot to go off of." And I mean, in the conversation, I was like, "Okay, we'll see."
Mhm.
Then I just forgot about it. And I mean, it was like the next day. I There was an issue at work, just a very immoral thing that they were asking us to do as employees, and I was like, no, I can't be part of this. And I called her right after, and I was like, babe, I think this might be it. Like, I'm gonna resign tomorrow.
Mhm.
And we talked and prayed, and I only had like a 5 minute car ride home. We talked, prayed, got off the phone, and immediately I get a call from my buddy, and he's like, "Hey, dude, don't know what you're doing for work right now, but I've got a job for you if you want to come work at this place I'm at." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Mhm.
So then 2 years later, the same thing happened. She's like, "I feel like a change is coming." Boom, big change. 2 years later, I feel like a change is coming. all of a sudden we're in a car moving out to Colorado. And it was just like that cycle. And so now when she's like, hey, there's a change coming, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to pack my bags. Something big's happening. Like I know something major is happening. And so I don't know that like early on, either of us expected us to be where we are today, but we knew that we wanted to prioritize time together. We wanted to prioritize time with our kids, and above all of it, time with the Lord.
Yeah.
And if we could get those three in the right order, it didn't really matter where we were. It didn't matter what state we were in. If we were living in a bumper pole camper, an RV, a tiny home, or a regular sized house, we just knew that we had to prioritize those things and everything was going to work out.
And now a brief message from our sponsor. Have you ever considered how much science is involved in cooking? Chemistry, physics, and biology are all at play in your kitchen, on the cutting board, in the mixing bowl, on the stovetop, and in the oven. Inquisicook is on mission to show students that science can be relevant, fascinating, and delicious, all while teaching this essential life skill. Inquisicook begins with the basics of food science and culinary arts, and then it adds skills and concepts in a carefully crafted sequence that leads to proficiency. Best of all, the principles can be applied to any cuisine, any available foods, and any dietary restrictions. So when it's time to plan a meal, the options are endless. Visit Inquisicook.com to view sample lessons, and then make sure you check out their recipe gallery to see just how crave-worthy science can be. This was one of my daughter's highlight from homeschool last year, and we've already signed up to do it again. But you definitely don't need to be homeschooled to participate. I think it's great for kids to get to do over the summer or any of their school breaks. Another group who can really benefit from this would be a newlywed couple. It's just helpful skills in the kitchen that are going to set you up well for life. So make sure you visit Inquisicook.com to get started. That's inquisitive and cook squished together. So it's INQUISICOOK.com. There's a verse that you quoted in your book, and I had never read it before in the Message translation. So it's Matthew 25:26 that says, "That's a terrible way to live. It's criminal to live cautiously like that." So drawing your wisdom then from the Lord, how does your faith fuel your sense of adventure?
Yeah. A lot of faith and trust. We've several points in our life have been at like a crossroads, and where we feel like we want to and almost desire more out of everything to go towards the direction where God is leading us, where we don't know the outcome. We don't know what's ahead. We don't know what's coming. And it's forcing us to trust the Lord, to have faith, even though we're fearful of it. Or we look at another option where it's like, you know what, this is very comfortable. We know the outcome. We know what's going to be required of us. We know how we're going to get there, how we're going to pay for it. And it was something we didn't desire. We liked being in a position where we needed the Lord and we were reliant upon Him. And so, we talk often in the book about being comfortable. And I feel like when you're in a comfortable setting in life, it's safe. There's no risk involved. There's little to no trust in the Lord. I say that, there's more to the story of that, but that you don't want to be at a place where you don't need God, where you don't need to rely on Him. And so for us, we just encourage people that if you do find yourself in a comfortable place, to maybe step out of your comfort zone a little bit, to what's an area where you need to trust the Lord more. Is it finding that new job that you've been waiting for, that you've been hoping for? Is it moving to the state that's closer by your family or closer by your friends that you really desire, but you're scared to not just be comfortable and stay for the sake of not being fearful or not like knowing what's next, but instead step out, trust the Lord, as long as you have peace and as long as you feel that yes from Him, and just lay fear aside and move forward with the Lord.
Yeah, with every big decision that we make, we're led by peace. And we've said it for years. If either one of us don't have a peace about it, we're not doing it. But when there are multiple doors open, we say we're going to choose the most adventurous one. If we don't feel a specific direction from the Lord, let's just pick the most adventurous one. And it's kind of become common practice for us
Yes.
to not have really many of the details planned out on a major decision, on a trip. And people are like, do you have any idea what you're going to do when you move there or how long you're going to be traveling the country in an RV? And we're like,
Nope.
no, we'll figure it out. Like, I joke with my buddies all the time because they're like, I mean, how do you know everything's going to be okay? How do you know this? I go, well, between me and God, we've got everything figured out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, I get it.
The
And I'm
Lord
like,
has
well, the
everything.
Lord has everything figured out, but I can throw myself in that team, you
Yeah.
know? And I feel like it's been an encouragement to some of our friends as they watch it and they're like, whoa, you guys did it.
Hmm.
Like, I'll talk about it for years. And even when we moved out to Colorado, in our minds, we were going to move out there. All of our friend group was like, one person needs to move, and then everybody else is going to like slowly follow out. Well, we end up moving out there, and I'm like shooting my buddies messages, like, all right, when are you coming out? When are you coming out? And one by one, it was like, no, I don't think we're coming. No, it's not going to
I
be
don't think
for
we're
at least
going
5 years. It's going to be, maybe when the kids graduate, all of these different responses. And I'm like, man, that was one of the biggest things that we missed when we were out there. But we knew that moving to Colorado, taking a pay cut, paying more in rent, like all of those things were a stepping stone to get us to where we were today, to trusting the Lord and starting our first business
to. Hmm.
together, trusting the Lord with our finances, with our time, and really putting us in a position where we were fully dependent on him
Yeah.
for our survival. And so,
And even if something doesn't work out, we mention a couple stories in the book where we may have moved forward without peace and it did not end well. But the Lord always brings it around and teaches us something from it, or a situation where we felt the peace to move to Colorado, but we were only there for 2 years. It was hard on us financially. We got into debt. We had no friends, no family out there. It was a hard season. We still gained from it. So instead of looking at something as a complete loss, we still look to find the good. What did the Lord birth in us? Like Dan said, spiritually we grew together, financially we started a business. Like, so much good came from it that even though maybe on paper or to others it didn't make sense, it was still good and something that the Lord, yeah, started for us.
And you've learned those lessons and now you get to share them with others. Even I'm going
Yeah,
to go
exactly.
super practical with this one. Our family has never done the RV thing before, but even just dipping our toes in and trying a vacation that way, what
Yes.
tips do you have for families maybe who aren't traveling around living out of their RV, but vacationing with one? What are some of
Yes.
your best tips?
I just saw a video of someone shared it the other day where they took their family of, let's see, 4, 6 total on an RV for the first time. And I was like, oh no, because the first warning I give to everyone is you have to change, you have to like drain your poop through the hose. If you're out on that RV life, it's not for you. RV vacation is not for you. You have to get down and dirty and take care of a few things. There's a lot more maintenance that comes with RV vacationing or RV life. And I usually leave the dirty work for Dan to do, and I'm inside, cooking, cleaning. But an RV has all your basic needs. You can still go to the bathroom, you can still shower. There's a toilet, there's a bed. It's just on a lot smaller scale. And if you're not good with being in close proximity with, all your children or your spouse, then you may just need a little bit of a bigger space to stay in. But it's fun because you get to like navigate it together and you get to learn just a new way of life or a new way of traveling. And yeah, the maintenance of the restroom, you have to have water hookups or you need solar for electric, or you have to be hooked up to electric. The great part is you can go anywhere and you can get right up close to some like great adventures. Our favorite spot to park an RV is like the rim of the Badlands. Like, it's so pretty. Is it the North Rim?
yeah.
It's gorgeous. You wake up to the sun rising over it, and it's like the most peaceful thing to be right there next to it. Um, and you can't do that with a cabin in the woods. But the benefit to a cabin in the woods is that's its own adventure. And so just do a little bit of research on the maintenance required for setting up, tearing down the RV in order to like get on the road and to like park it and set up,
I
because
like how you
it's still
weave some of the
fun.
worst parts about
Into
RV
the
life
best.
in there. But I will say, being on the road, traveling, and like just kind of deciding on the way
Yes, where you're going to
is one
go.
of the greatest things ever. I did not like we definitely had a plan. It was like, hey, we're gonna stop one time. Growing up, we've got 5 kids, so it was like we're stopping one time to go to the bathroom. If you have to go, you're just gonna have to hold it type of thing. We were fairly structured in the traveling to a place, but being in an RV, it really opens up so much to where you can on the way be like, oh, I just saw a billboard. I
Yeah.
wonder what that is. Look it up. How far away is it? Hey, what if we take a 45-minute detour and go check this out? Like we found places in the middle of Kansas that 1% of the population knows about.
Yeah.
We camped. I mean, there's spots that you can camp on the rim of the Grand Canyon. Like no guardrail, back your vehicle right up, walk out the door, sit there, have coffee or whatever in the morning. And that was like our favorite part about it. There were nights that we would drive until like 1 in the morning and we might be sleeping in a truck stop, but we were on the way to Glacier National Park or to the Oregon coast or wherever. And so I feel like ditching the schedule and just kind of figuring it out
It's
as you go
freeing.
is one of the most freeing things on a vacation. And the other nice part about it is if you find a place that you absolutely love and you're like, we want to spend 4 days here, do it. You don't have a new reservation somewhere else that you have to get to. You can just go wherever the wind blows, have fun with the family. And yeah, I think everybody needs to do it at least one
Oh yeah,
time.
for sure.
What a great challenge to step outside
Yes.
our comfort zone, like you said. Well, one other amazing adventure that you've embarked on together is becoming a surrogate twice, I
Yes.
believe.
Yeah.
So, will you tell us a little bit more about that process and that experience?
Yeah, definitely. So in 2018, we had our daughter, and she was a little bit more work than our first. So our first was super easy, ate well, slept well, like barely cried. And our daughter, maybe it was just her being a girl, was a little bit more needy and required some extra grace and some more prayer for patience on my part. But at that point, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done, having children of our own and parenting our own children because this even raising 2 kids is going to be a task. But I didn't feel like I was done carrying children, and I'm like, I still want to have babies, but I don't want to like have more to parent. How do I how do I do that? But I felt like the Lord just laid surrogacy in my heart, and I started thinking about it, praying about it, researching it, and I brought it up to Dan, like, hey, what would you think about me doing this? And I had to educate him a little bit on like what being a surrogate was. As a gestational surrogate, I wasn't carrying an embryo with an egg that was mine, so I'm not biologically related to the baby. And after some prayer, we both felt a peace about it. And so we walked through that door and started the process of meeting a couple or going through an agency to start a journey. And yeah, we've done 2 now. So in 2022, I delivered a baby boy for a couple, and then in 2024, so just last year, I just actually in a few days, I'm going to hit my year mark of my second belly bud being 1 and a little girl for a couple. And it was like the most one of the greatest adventures I've been on, and I've gained so much from it. It's so rewarding to see someone who desires to be a parent, to be a mom, but physically can't, to see them walk that road and just step into the role that like watching her become a mom is like you can tell that's what she was meant to be. That's what the Lord had for her. And it's so fun seeing the joy of their family and watching her grow up and like being a part of her life. That yeah, like we just encourage other people if you're able to do something like that, or no matter what it is, it's not just surrogacy, but if God's calling you to something that may require a lot more from you or something that is not normal, it's not traditional, you don't see it a lot, like just step out and do it. And yeah, it's been fun. It definitely grew Dan and I closer together. Spiritually, he was there for me in, times of emotional hardship. Pregnancy in itself is hard, but to do it multiple times, this is my 5th pregnancy now. There's a lot of roles that he takes on to care for the kids more, to care for me more. And we've grown closer, and just his love for me, seeing it that even though it's not our baby, like he's still caring for me and taking care of me as if as if it was. Um, and and the Lord, I've had to rely on the Lord so many times because pregnancy and birthing in itself is a miracle. To go through moments of transfer, like the embryo doesn't always take the first time on a transfer, or your levels are off, or maybe one of the ultrasounds is, something doesn't look good on it. We're constantly relying on the Lord, and it gives us an opportunity to share with the intended parents, someone who didn't have hope, um, didn't have anything to look forward to for parenting their own children, to just like be an encouragement to them spiritually and then share these journeys with others publicly has been a great way just to share our faith and to share how going through a circus or journey caused us to rely on the Lord and, point everything back to Christ and, God being just very pro-life, and we're excited to bring this life into the world. And so, yeah, definitely a big adventure to embark on, to bring two babies into the world that aren't ours, but one of like the greatest things I've ever done. It's awesome.
It's a beautiful sacrifice. And I'm sure others are also wondering at that moment when you meet the baby that you've been
Yeah.
carrying, how did you handle those emotions of sharing the baby?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So when you go into surrogacy, you know from the beginning that it's not your child. Especially as a gestational care, you're not related to it. And so it's throughout the pregnancy, you're all these milestones that you hit, you're excited for it, but you're excited for it for the parents. So finding out, there's a heartbeat and seeing the baby for the first time on ultrasound, you're excited for them. Finding out the gender, you're excited for them. Delivering the baby, you're excited for them. That you do a lot of mental prep, but there's also like a lot of research that shows to like plan something after delivery for your family to do, something for you to do with your kids, so that when you do leave the hospital, you don't think about what you don't have anymore. You think about what you do have at your house with your family. And so it may seem hard. I think a lot of times people compare it to adoption, where the birth mom is literally giving up her child to somebody else, and the hardship that would cause on her as a surrogate. And I can only speak for myself because I'm sure there are times where it is hard for a surrogate, but for me it wasn't, because I did a lot of mental preparing, emotionally preparing, that I knowing that this child wasn't mine. Going into it, I knew that at the end of it, I would deliver the baby and the baby would be taken from me, and I'm not raising this child. And a lot of times you don't even touch baby until like maybe you're discharged to see the baby before you leave. So it's not like I'm delivering the baby's being given to me and I'm holding it and I'm bonding with it and then it's being taken away. It's no, this is from the moment it comes out of the womb. It is their baby and it's in their care. And again, seeing their face, their joy, the moment where like they're seeing their child for the first time is so rewarding. And that's something that I would never want to take from them. It was never my role to be this baby's mother. It was to just carry their baby and to bring their baby into the world. And so it's not as hard as you think, thankfully. I mean, I wouldn't have done it a second time for sure if it was. And we're praying about a third one, but like it's it's so rewarding. And yeah, from the beginning that it's not yours. So it's easy to, in a sense, pass the baby off.
When was the first time you listened to an episode of The Savvy Sauce? How did you hear about our podcast? Did a friend share it with you? Will you be willing to be that friend now and text 5 other friends or post on your socials anything about The Savvy Sauce that you love? If you share your favorite episodes, that is how we continue to expand our reach and get the good news of Jesus Christ in more ears across the world. So we need your help. Another way to help us grow is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Each of these suggestions will cost you less than a minute, but it will be a great benefit to us. Thank you so much for being willing to be generous with your time and share. We appreciate you. I love how you call out that you don't recommend people go to the other extreme and become reckless and chase adventure. You discern between choosing adventure and chasing adventure. So I'm wondering if you can give us any of your definitions or parameters around what choosing adventure does and does not look like for you.
Yeah, I think that choosing adventure for us is looking at opportunities where we can spend as a family, where we can get outside of our comfort zones and just really put it in the Lord's hands. Have
Mhm.
fun along the way, whether it's zip lining or jumping off a cliff. Like a lot of people think adventure has to be this grand thing and super dangerous. And for us, it isn't really. Like
Mhm.
there's been a couple times where we've been like, whoa, this got crazy quickly. Maybe we could have planned it out a little bit better,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, it all worked out. And so when we talk about people choosing instead of chasing or not being reckless, it's all about like do something new, do something fun, do something that puts you outside of your comfort zone, but isn't going to put you in a bad position.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the guy that's like, you know what? Never swam across Lake Michigan. I'm going to give it a go, see what happens. If that's the case, it's like maybe start out with a triathlon and see what you're going to do and work your way up. And so, I don't ever want anyone to take the book or take the things that we say or the adventures that we've had in life and think I'm going to do something absolutely crazy that doesn't make sense, that's not logical, that's not
Mhm.
safe. Like that's not what this is about. It's about just getting outside of your comfort zone, and the more you're outside of it, the more comfortable you become
Mhm.
with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I tell people like on some of my backcountry hunts, I want to be comfortable in suffering. Like when I'm really, really struggling physically to climb up a mountain with a 70-pound pack on my back, I want to be like, I know I'm making it out of this. It's not fun in the moment. I like it hurts. My legs are burning. My back hurts. I
Mhm.
feel like I need a break, but I'm going to keep pushing through. And when I look back on that, I'm going to go, that was brutal and awesome. And I loved every second of it. And I feel like that's how we view
Yeah.
our trips, our road trips. I mean, driving, what was it, 30 something
Oh my
thousand
gosh.
miles in a couple months and visiting dozens and dozens of states. It was like there were times where it was like, I don't want to be on the road anymore. The wind is literally about to tip the RV over. I'm almost taking out construction cones or running into things because I had never driven an RV before. And the very first place we go is Wisconsin, and we drive right past Chicago, and there's like
Beautiful.
construction for 100 miles. And so it's like all of those things, they were fun. Yeah, they were scary in the moment. We got through. We were never in any real danger. And so, yeah, I feel like it's a stair step when it comes to adventure. I didn't start
Beautiful.
out just wandering around Alaska by myself. It started with going down to Arkansas, being 5 miles away from the vehicle,
Mhm.
and then kind of built from there.
Yeah, to not be reckless, like to, we talked about this earlier, to move forward when you have peace. And just because you have peace with it, someone else may not understand it, but with peace, like there's wisdom too. You don't want to move forward with a lack of peace and not using wisdom in a decision because, yeah, that will get you in trouble and that will cause hardship and pain later down the road. But if you have peace about something and there is that open door and you feel the release from the Lord to go on this adventure, then do it. And even though if it doesn't work out, God will still work everything out. But yeah, when, like Dan said, the more you do things that are outside your comfort zone or that, even others may not agree with, but you feel the peace with and you're moving forward, the easier it becomes to do those. And the more you trust the Lord. And like you said, again, it doesn't have to be some grand adventure. We encourage people that if they're new to choosing adventure and they're new to stepping outside their comfort zone, try like a new restaurant one day. Go to like I was thinking the other day, we live in Missouri and we always travel outside of Missouri for adventure. I'm like, we need to do a 6 month adventure just within Missouri. Like we drove 2 hours south and through Missouri to go to Georgia last week, and we were driving down this hill on one of the roads, and I'm like, this looks like it looked like Georgia already, or it looked like Colorado, the hillside and the trees and the fog over. I'm like, this is beautiful. And then I look down, I'm like, oh, we're still in Missouri. So there's so much to adventure and to explore in your own backyard or down your street that it doesn't have to be something crazy wild. We're not saying go, jump out of a plane and skydive or something, but just start small, start where you have peace and where you feel the Lord's leading.
Mhm. That's great. I love having a handful of practical things. I think of my brother Drew and his wife Amanda when their kids were really little. they just drew a 2 hour radius to
Oh,
see
fun.
what places would be fun to go invest and explore.
Yeah.
Or for us, I would say one of our most recent adventures, we didn't know what it would look like on the other side, but it's become one of our favorite things in life and probably our best decision in parenting for us as we started homeschooling our kids last year.
Yes.
And it has been a wild adventure.
That's an adventure.
So, any other tips to get people started? Those are even trying the new restaurant,
Yeah.
anything else like that that you would say?
The nice thing is that we all have this supercomputer in our hand or in our pocket all the time. And there are so many lists of like the top 10 places to see, places to eat.
Hmm.
There's books that are just like places to canoe before you die, places to hike before you die, places to, and they have all of this stuff listed out. And so it's not that you have to be a pioneer and find a new place that nobody's ever been
Yeah.
before. Um, Look at the research that people have done before you and look at lists, get on Pinterest or any social media platform and try to just figure out what are practical things that you can do. And then you can also say, like, how difficult is this going to be for me? Do I really need to jump that far into it right now? Or should I just go to a local park that might have a cool cave that I can explore? Or maybe there's a creek near the house. And like, what if we just go down there
Yeah.
and see if we can find fish or crawdads or try to skip rocks? My kids, that is one of their favorite things. I'm like, I loved doing it as a kid. I didn't realize how exciting
I agree.
just the act of watching a rock skip on the water would
Yeah.
be for kids. And so there's a million different resources online for things that you can practically do close to home. And it might, for some people, just be trying that DIY project instead of calling a carpenter to put your shelf up, or a handyman. Like,
Mhm.
give it a try. The worst that's going to happen, you have a hole in your wall. Now you watch a video on how to patch it.
That's so good. And I'm seeing a theme. A lot of these are getting outdoors and nature. That's always an adventure. But then I'm even
Mhm.
thinking simple things in conversation, trying out a new question, even with a loved
Yeah.
one. Or you said at the beginning that you love hospitality. So inviting somebody new into your home.
Hmm.
I think any of that novelty is just really good for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think even making it a point in conversation when somebody asks you how your day is, instead of just saying good and continuing on, actually stop and talk to them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, their biggest fear might not be going on a road trip, might not be financial ruin. It might just be opening up and being vulnerable with another person.
Hmm.
And so it could be the person at the office that you've never actually had a conversation with. You know each other, you might wave when you walk by their desk, but actually talk to them, get to know them,
Hmm.
tell them about yourself. And and so the book has a lot of those types of things lined out where it's
Yeah.
like it might not be physical, it might not be out in nature, it might be within your home. It
Yeah.
might be, I mean, some people need to do this with their kids. Like
Hmm.
that might be the scariest thing is talking to your teenager, like actually having a conversation and
How are
we're
you
gonna
really
sit
feeling?
down and we're gonna have a meal together and actually talk as a
Yeah.
family. And so yeah, it looks different for everybody, and that's one thing because our passion is being outside. Like Sam wants a houseboat. She wants to buy a houseboat and renovate it and live in it for
I say that's our
a
next
certain amount
adventure.
of time. And we've had other people who a bunch of homeschool families bought sailboats and sailed all around the world as they were homeschooling their kids. And I heard that and I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to do that at some point. But I know for a lot of people just going outside is a big deal. And
Mhm.
so it looks different for everybody. We do give a lot of nature examples, but there's different ways for every type of person, every level of uh, what would you even call it? Social.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of different levels to the social scale. And
Hmm.
so no matter where you are, there's something for you to be a little bit more adventurous.
Okay, so like I said, you've made a compelling argument for getting outside of our comfort zone. Why do you think some of us resist this attractive lifestyle?
Yeah. I think there's fear in it. There's sadly nowadays, what will other people think of me? What if we fail? What if we lose money? What if I look a certain way that I don't want to appear to others. And that's where you just have to think back to Christ. Like, what is it, what really matters at the end of the day? It's how God views you. And if you fail, oh well, what if the Lord like just opens up so many doors and creates an avenue for you to get out? Or what if so much good comes from it that we can't be afraid of failure? Again, move forward cautiously with wisdom and with the Lord's peace and direction. But in our book, we share one of our biggest adventures was going out to Colorado and renovating a van for 5 days. And we broke down on the side of the road, something no one wants to do in the desert, in the middle of,
Twice.
we did twice, we broke down, in the middle of Kansas and then in Colorado again. And it was, we'll be honest, it was not fun. It was one of like the scariest times, but looking back, like we're so thankful we did because so much good came from it. Like we met some amazing people who helped us along the way. And it's now one of our favorite stories to tell of encouragement that just because you say yes to adventure and just because something bad happens, it's not all a waste. And I think, yeah, that fear just keeps people from being able to move forward and being like, oh, you know what, like I'm comfortable right here in my house, my kids in public school, not going anywhere because I know where my money's coming. I know like what's happening tomorrow. I know how people are going to respond. And I'm just gonna like stay here. Not that that's a bad thing because the Lord needs people in every season and every situation. But if He's prompting you to step out and to try something new, like don't be afraid of what's required from you or what could happen. You never know like where it could lead.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is those few things, fear, pride, or just you believing that God isn't big enough or doesn't care about your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a lot of people are there where I really want to try this, but like, what if things go wrong? And for us, it's like when things go wrong, that's where the Lord provides. That's where the Lord directs. That's where He leads. That's where His word can be the lamp to your feet and a light to your path.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to do it all on your own and you're staying in this safety net of comfort, nothing amazing happens in that place. And so we've seen it time and time again,
And
the
in
Lord's
scripture,
provision, the Lord's provision in our lives, and uh, not only the provision financially, but actually like setting us free from constraints, like
mm-hmm.
social constraints of like you have to work 9 to 5. We heard that over and over and over. What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? And I'm like, well, the nice thing is Sam and I are both hard workers and super driven, and I'm sure we could get jobs again.
Yeah.
So like worst case scenario, we run completely out of money,
And we go back to our
go
jobs.
back to work. And I'm like, what does failure actually look like? And I try to get people to break it down for me. People who are like, I'm glad that worked for you, but that couldn't work for us. And I go, why?
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't it work for you? And they're like, well, I like, what happens if it doesn't work out? And I'm like, let's expand on that as far out as we can think.
Even the worst
Like, does
isn't the
that leave,
worst.
like, are you gonna die? No.
Yeah.
Like, no, you'll probably just come back home if it doesn't work out, you know? And so trying to show people that, because the fear of the unknown is pretty significant to
Mm-hmm.
people. Something completely new to them that they've never tried it's really challenging to get people to take that first step. But once they do, the second step is
Yeah.
easier, the third step is easier, and pretty soon you're jumping and sprinting, and you're like, whoa, this whole life is out here that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely think it's those three, though.
That's good. And it makes me think that typically the way that we grow our faith is action. We put our faith
Mm-hmm.
into action, and God gives us with more faith when we're faithful with the little faith that we have.
Yeah.
And it also makes me think I believe it was episode 85, traveling with your family with the guest Katie Mueller. I'm going to link to it. I think you guys would love it, where she
Yeah.
parallels what God called people to do throughout the Bible with travel, what that looks like today, practical, fun things.
Mm-hmm.
But Sam, something that you said reminded me of this when you're like, well, if nothing else, it's going to be a great story.
Yeah.
And she referred to that like when things went wrong growing up on their travels, they laughed so hard about those memories. And in their family, they tragically lost their dad very unexpectedly Actually, her mom, I'll link to Joyce Hodel's
Mm-hmm.
episode as well. She shares that story. But their family has all of these stories and all of these memories from
Yeah.
choosing adventure. So
Yeah.
that makes me then start to think of marriage and
Mhm.
family. And as we put that together with adventure, you guys always make adventure feel approachable, even in parenting. And I'm thinking on page 15, you wrote that as a kid, anytime you get to drive cross country, stay at a hotel, or eat at a restaurant, it's an
Mhm.
adventure for no reason other than it's a break from the norm.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? That's the whole point. Choosing adventure is about stepping out of your comfort zone and trying something new. There's no right or wrong way to do it. So, with that in mind, Dan and Sam, how can we begin to enjoy this adventurous life in marriage and in
Mhm.
family?
Yeah, bringing your kids along is such a fun. It requires a little bit more packing, but such a fun aspect to adventure and, you know, going on date nights with your spouse, trying something new, experiencing it together, finding something you enjoy together, but realizing that it can also, there's another level of fun to have your kids along with. And sometimes we'll drive 30 minutes away and stay at a hotel for a night just because it's a new place to go and the kids love it. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Like they go putt-putt and that for them is like the greatest thing. If you end it with ice cream, it's even better. That's like the cherry on top, that it's just something fun for them. But yeah, realizing that it can be a family thing, but it could just be you as a couple too. But yeah.
Well, and for kids, there's so much adventure to be had right at home or right in your backyard.
Hmm.
Um, I went to Walmart one day and I bought two extra large king size sheets just so that we could do forts. I was like, I'm gonna put these in the closet, and now I've got like the alligator clips, and so I can clip them to different things. And when it's a rainy day and the kids are bored and we're stuck inside, it's just a break from the norm.
Hmm.
And then they'll be like, Mom, Dad, come see what we did. And they might build like a little shop where they sell us stuff inside of their fort. Or they might make beds for us and for the
Hmm.
stuffed animals and for our dog and all of these different things. And so breaking out of the norm is just what adventure is.
Yeah.
Like if they're not used to that, if they're not used to that time together, like some days it's we're gonna go jump on the trampoline and they're like, wait, both of you at once? Normally one of us is getting stuff done and the
Yeah.
other one's hanging out with them. And when all of a sudden it's like both of us unexpectedly are walking to the trampoline, they're like, oh,
This.
family trampoline jump, you know. If you need really good ideas for adventure and you're a parent, just watch Bluey.
Yes.
If you haven't seen Bluey, that dad is awesome. And like we used to do that. We used to do the claw game.
Yeah.
I would put all of their stuffed animals in my lap. My thumb was the joystick, and then my other hand was the claw, and they had to move it, and I would pick up the stuffed animals. And to them, it was the greatest thing they'd ever done.
Yeah.
And we saw it on a cartoon.
Hmm.
And so incorporating family into it, I feel like is just it's really easy.
Hmm.
And aside from excuses, there's no reason not to get the kids involved in it. Also, there's a million books about getting kids outside.
Yeah.
And so like checklists that they can do every national park. If for those that don't know or haven't visited national parks, I didn't know this because we didn't go to any national parks growing up, but your kids can become a junior ranger. They
Hmm.
get these booklets and they get badges of the individual parks, and they have to learn about nature and about the animals that are there and about the history. And so that became a thing for the kids. Every place we went, it was like, oh, I need a junior ranger badge. I need it. And I mean, they had
Yeah.
wooden badges just lining their chest like they were some war hero. And they absolutely loved it. And so there's things like that locally, nature parks and
Yeah.
stuff.
Even in
But
your
doing it
backyard.
together,
Hmm.
I mean, that's what it's all about. For me, I watched the guys on TV and I'm like, that guy just went to New Zealand by himself, or like watching Alone. I'm like, I don't want to do that. It would be pretty crazy, I feel like. I think everybody needs some type of alone time here and there. But for me, I want to share this stuff with my wife, with my kids, with my buddies, and so yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Like you said, have those stories to tell with your family, of your family members. That way, if something does happen and they pass, you have so much to look back on of the memories you're able to share together.
Mm, absolutely. And to bring those up and share them with our kids while we are together. They love hearing stories about when they were little,
Oh, yeah.
and you guys have taken it a step further where you document it then and preserve. So if we want continued inspiration after this conversation, where can we go to follow you two and your adventures?
Yes, we do. Our kids love watching our travels and stuff. We share long form videos and stuff on YouTube, Facebook, but we share our life on every platform. We are Dan and Sam, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and then Dan has his hunting content over at the Nomadic Outdoorsman. And yeah, we share day-to-day life, what that looks like, lifestyle, but then our travels, our adventures, mom life, welcoming a new baby, our surrogacy journeys, whatever life looks like at that time, and how we're enjoying it, what God's teaching us, where we're going, and we laugh along the way, be encouragement, and try to inspire you to live an adventurous, fun-filled life.
Love it. We'll add links to all of those things in the show notes for today's episode. And you two may already be familiar that we're called the Savvy Sauce because savvy is synonymous with practical knowledge. And so as my final question for both of you today, what is your Savvy Sauce?
Oh, practical knowledge. Let's see. I would say with motherhood, don't think that, I don't know if this would be considered savvy sauce, but it's just a good reminder to myself that as a mom, you may think you're alone in something, you're going through it, and it's just you, but you're not. You are with a community of people who are feeling the same thing that you're walking through, going through the same thing, and just reminding yourself you're not alone, because I think it makes the journey a lot easier to know that there's other people walking through the same season, the same, hardship, the same joy, the same trials as you. And it makes life a little bit easier when you feel less alone. So
I think for me, it would be that your kids are going to be an extreme version of what you are. So if you're showing fear in decisions, if you're hesitant, if you're not trusting the Lord, that's going to be compounded in their lives. And they're just a more magnified mirror image of what their parents are. And so we try to, in everything that we do, go, is this something that's going to set up our kids for success? And it's not like, oh, we have to have money in the bank for them, for a retirement fund one day or a college fund. I'm talking like everyday lessons. If I put my phone screen in front of my kids, they're going to do that more and more and more. If I prioritize things that aren't meant to be prioritized over my wife, they're going to see that. And so we try to be very, very clear about what our priorities are. We try to live intentionally, showing them the right way to do things, and being an example to them. And so, yeah, that would be my savvy sauce.
I love it. You two are so full of integrity, and you definitely shine the love and the light of Jesus brightly by the way that you live. So I know I'm leaving this conversation feeling very inspired to choose adventure. And I just want to say thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a joy.
It was a blast.
One more thing before you go. Have you heard the term gospel before? It simply means good news, and I want to share the best news with you. But it starts with the bad news. Every single one of us were born sinners, but Christ desires to rescue us from our sin, which is something we cannot do for ourselves. This means there's absolutely no chance we can make it to heaven on our own. So for you and for me, it means we deserve death, and we can never pay back the sacrifice we owe to be saved. We need a Savior. But God loved us so much, He made a way for His only Son to willingly die in our place as the perfect substitute. This gives us hope of life forever in right relationship with Him. That is good news. Jesus lived the perfect life we could never live and died in our place for our sin. This was God's plan to make a way to reconcile with us so that God can look at us and see Jesus. We can be covered and justified through the work Jesus finished if we choose to receive what he has done for us. Romans 10:9 says that if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. So would you pray with me now? Heavenly Father, thank you for sending Jesus to take our place. I pray someone today, right now, is touched and chooses to turn their life over to you. Will you clearly guide them and help them take their next step in faith to declare you as Lord of their life? We trust you to work and change lives now for eternity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. If you prayed that prayer, you are declaring him for me, so me for him. You get the opportunity to live your life for him. And at this podcast, we're called the Savvy Sauce for a reason. We want to give you practical tools to implement the knowledge you have learned. So you ready to get started? First, tell someone. Say it out loud. Get a Bible. The first day I made this decision, my parents took me to Barnes & Noble and let me choose my own Bible. I selected the Quest NIV Bible and I love it. You can start by reading the book of John. Also, get connected locally, which just means tell someone who's a part of a church in your community that you made a decision to follow Christ. I'm assuming they will be thrilled to talk with you about further steps, such as going to church and getting connected to other believers to encourage you. We want to celebrate with you too, so feel free to leave a comment for us here if you did make a decision to follow Christ. We also have show notes included where you can read scripture that describes this process. And finally, be encouraged. Luke 15:10 says, "In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents." The heavens are praising with you for your decision today. And if you've already received this good news, I pray you have someone to share it with. You are loved, and I look forward to meeting you here next time.